I understand that there was a slight Greyhound shortage on the live show, and I am here to remedy that. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Married with Comics. I'm your host Laura, and this is my co-host for the day, Mac. Now, Mac was with us at the live show on the Kraken's Horde, which went phenomenally well. Thank you all so much for your support. I rewatched the feed, saw all your comments, you guys are amazing. And I saw, of course, that our moment of shining glory when I decided to kind of pick up Mac's front paws, that way you could all see him. All you can see is a little bit of a nose, and maybe an eye or two. I decided that this video instead is going to have a bit of Greyhound overload, so be prepared for a lot of cuteness. The Kraken's Horde, of course, is shipping out the majority of your items. So if you ordered something from us and you ordered something from the Kraken's Horde, everything is getting shipped out together. That should be shipping out very, very soon. The bookmarks were sadly a little bit delayed. They should be arriving this weekend, so first thing next week I should be getting them all out to you. But today we are going to talk about the title that you all chose. Now, as of 2 days ago, when I had posted that poll on the community page on YouTube, so hint, pay attention to those polls, I had shown kind of my unboxing video, and then in that video I had asked which book you all wanted to hear about first. So I counted the poll, and then of course I counted some of your comments and some of the stories that you seem to all like the most. And one of them that certainly made the top of the list as of 2 days ago was Radiant Black. Really? Really? Apparently he really likes the book. Really? Radiant Black. And you all wonder why I end up with dog smears on comic books. That's why trades and hardcovers are my friends. Single issues, I typically have to read them a little bit further away from the dogs. So I had heard about this title when it came out. I grabbed issue number 1, and of course I knew I was going to meet Kyle Higgins at GalaxyCon. So I knew I wanted to get him to sign that and my copy of Ordinary Gods issue number 1. Well, while I was sitting there talking to Kyle Higgins, he asked, of course, how far I'd read into the series. And I was honest, and I told him I'd only read 1 issue. He picked up his tablet and he started flipping through the graphic novel that was about to be released in a couple weeks. And he said that he had just finalized all the artwork and was ready to send it out to print. And the more he was talking about the story and how it sort of evolved and what he had done to create these characters, the more excited I got about the story. So I knew I was going to grab this trade paperback, and when it was on sale, I can't resist a sale. Now, at one point I saw someone compare this to Invincible, and I also heard this compared to Power Rangers. Now, as you know, Kyle Higgins is known for his Power Rangers run, and he's a very, very talented writer. So this story starts with a guy who is coming home after failing not just a little bit, but appallingly in a professional setting. Goes to the big city to try and make it big and become a writer, except he doesn't end up writing, well, anything. And instead he comes home with a large amount of crippling debt and is having to humble himself and start afresh. So when he goes out with his childhood best friend for a drink, the two of them catch up, and eventually, on their way out of the bar, there's this little black hole orb that is sort of floating in front of them. And our main character is the one who reaches out, grabs the orb, and then poof, becomes a superhero. Eventually, he starts trying to use his superpowers for good, and chooses the name Radiant Black. A couple things I will say about this series. So, number 1, if you only grabbed the single issues and you only read... Really, Mac? Ugh. Now, if you only grabbed the single issues and you only read issues maybe 1 and 2, you would have been intrigued. The best friend is definitely my favorite character. He is hysterical. Hysterical, I tell you. So, if you'd only read that far, you probably would have given up on the series. But it's not until around issue 3 at the end that suddenly they give a nice little twist and everything starts kind of speeding up and getting really, really good. This is not a major spoiler, this is just sort of a known thing. I realized at Comic-Con that there are 5 connecting covers that were sold as an exclusive, and I really like them. But you can see in the connecting covers that there's more than just one Radiant Black. And each one has different colors, kind of similar to Power Rangers, which is where I certainly understand the comparison. I knew that they were coming. It was just a question of who they were, are they all good? What does this mean? Why suddenly do we have the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers become Radiant Black? When you get the explanation as to why this team has been formed, why each one is selected, it starts getting really, really interesting, and each person has a unique identity, and the more we get into the story, the more addicting it becomes. So by the time I was at issue 4, and everything kept kind of building, I was completely invested. So one of the big things that I thought was really, really clever are some of the inside jokes that I adore. So for instance, there's a Ghostbusters reference. So there's one scene that I'm going to show you all the panels on because I can't paraphrase it. It's just too stinking funny. So the best friend, who's my favorite character, he's working in a movie rental shop. And of course, he has great taste in movies, and every single person who's coming into the shop has pretty crappy taste. So one of the ads that they've done, or at least that he's come up with, to incite people to try new movies is to combine, a bath bomb with What Lies Beneath. Which is funny all on its own. And then he continues to talk about some of his other ideas, which is, thanks, I'm working on a lotions and lambs special for next month, and maybe a Hannibal plus edibles. And the customer says, any shot we could swap this out for another bathtub movie? Arthur or Maverick? Maybe Lebowski? I don't like Harrison Ford. And the main character's response is, I have no words right now. And I feel his pain. So a lot of it is definitely designed to be very tongue-in-cheek, funny as all get out, great movie references, and these fun little moments. Each one of them helps kind of add to the sense of humor instead of just getting bogged down with your normal kind of Superman angst sort of feeling to this storyline. The only thing that I will say, and I think a lot of people actually agree with me, is that the main character, Nathan Burnett, because of his failings in, the big city, and his lack of responsibility and his inability to kind of own up to the fact that, come on, you knew you were in debt, not just like in a little bit of debt, you knew you were surrounded by it, and you did nothing. So it's really hard to just feel a lot of empathy for him. When he's the only character on screen, you constantly feel like something's missing. He does get better as a character, I will say that, especially when he starts kind of giving in to that role as Radiant Black. But his best friend is what gives you that contrast, so then you lose some of that, necessary angst of, I've failed, but now it is my chance to do something right. What do I do with my life? It's always the best friend who knows that you should be testing your superpowers, that knows you should be figuring out your limits, that knows you need a cool name, and knows that you should be controlling the message. Now, not every single superhero goes on Instagram, but if you can make sure that the media doesn't twist and make your character appear like a villain, like they tried at the beginning of Spider-Man, then you can make sure that the public is behind you, which these days is half the battle. A lot of really, really clever, cute things are thrown in here, and the fact that, Kyle Higgins could have kept this as a very simple story. It could have just been fun. And it's very enjoyable. But the fact that he added some of those complications and made it a lot more interesting, one, I gotta give him a lot of respect for that. But two, it makes me really excited for Volume 2. So yes, I'm still sticking with the trade paperbacks, but Volume 2 comes out very, very soon, and I can't wait to check it out. Now, I think that this is the extent of the Greyhound cuteness that is, so we will see you again very, very soon. Thank you all so much for your support. So this is Mac, everyone, and this here is FOMO. Now, her real name is Lola. She's a foster in our household, but she's already been adopted, so she's going to be leaving us very, very soon. But Mac has a tendency to always want to be present when there is love to be given, and little Lola is the full equivalent of FOMO. So anytime I stop petting her is suddenly when she gets super duper cute. The only reason she has not been here for this entire video is because she has been playing with a toy. So we have Mac and wagging FOMO. So thank you all so much for tuning in, and we will see you again very, very soon. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.